Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Austin, I'm going to go back to my question earlier about the records that special immigrant visa applicants really need in order to qualify for those visas that, and there's not been a good process through DOD to ensure that they get those records. Is that something that the department is looking at, and would you be willing to work with this committee or others to see if we could set up a process that would ensure that those folks who worked with our men and women actually have the documentation they need to show that? I know that one of the challenges is that many of those records have been destroyed, but I would hope there's some way that we can ensure that those people are able to get the documentation they need to come to this country.
Senator, let me first say that I absolutely agree with you that the process is onerous and that we need to do something to make it easier for those people that have helped us to prove that they have in fact worked with us before. One of my departments in defense is working to try to find ways to propose ways to truncate the process or come up with alternative means to demonstrate that they have worked with us in the past. And to answer your question, we would absolutely welcome working with the committee on this.
Thank you. I assume we should contact your office to find who the appropriate contact person would be?
Well, we'll contact your office and let you know who he is, Senator.
Okay. General Milley and General McKenzie, it's long been publicly reported that the Pakistani intelligence services have maintained a close and continuing relationship with the Taliban. Do we expect that relationship to become more complicated now that the Taliban is in power? Are we concerned about Pakistan's nuclear weapons and the potential that terrorist groups might be able to get access to those weapons? Can you talk a little bit about how you see the relationship with Pakistan and the Taliban playing out and the challenges that presents for the United States? I'll start. Which one of you would like to answer that?
Go ahead, Frank. I'll follow you.
Senator, some of this we can talk in a little bit more detail in the closed session.
Okay.
But I would tell you that I believe Pakistan's relationship with the Taliban is going to become significantly more complicated as a result of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. And in fact, they're going to see pressure moving into Pakistan from Afghanistan in ways that they've been able to deflect before because of the pressure that we and our allies had them. So I think that's a significant problem that Pakistan is going to face. Well, I'd like to talk about their special weapons perhaps in the closed session. As has been noted by several people, in order to get to Afghanistan, you have to fly over Pakistan unless you come from the north. And that's a subject of continuing deliberation with Pakistan. And I can shed a little bit more light on that going forward. But, you know, they've actually, over the last 20 years, we've been able to use what we call the Air Boulevard to go in over western Pakistan. And that's become something that's vital to us, as well as certain landlines of communication. And we'll be working with the Pakistanis in the days and weeks ahead to look at what that relationship is going to look like in the future. But I can, again, talk a little more in the closed session.
Thank you. General Milley, did you want to add to that?
I've had several conversations over the years and also recently with Pakistanis, and there's no question in my mind that the relationship between Pakistan and the Taliban is going to become increasingly complex. There's a whole series of issues there that have national security interests for the United States that are best handled in a different session.
Okay, thank you. Well, can you, and Secretary Austin, can you talk about what we're doing to work with our European counterparts who, based on conversations that I've had with some of the civilians from our NATO allies, there was some frustration about the communication that led to the withdrawal and the evacuation. Are we working to rebuild those relationships? Do you see that frustration reflected in the military relationships that you have?
I don't, Senator, and you know, I understand that there will be concerns, but as I engage my counterparts, they're all very willing to work with us, and you know, I don't want us to sound Pollyannish on this, but they have been very, very thankful for the fact that we helped them get their people out, and we helped them get thousands of evacuees out that had worked for them because of what we did. So I think as I look at the major players, that there is still a strong sense of, a strong willingness to work with us. And relationships are things that we just have to continue to work at.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.